Hi everybody, hope you're doing marvellously well. We're here at Sensible Music again, and we're going to go and visit with State is Flow. You may remember we did a Fact Friday here very recently, and they let us use their studio. So now we're going to do an official studio tour with Maverick. Here we go. Maverick!
Good to see you all.
Good to see you too.
Welcome.
Well, thanks for having us back. You let us do a Fact Friday in here.
Indeed, yes.
Which was rather lovely of you, so I appreciate it. What is your DAW, by the way?
So we're predominantly off Logic, but I'm somewhat DAW fluid, using Pro Tools to track. Dabbled a bit with Luna. The workhorse is Logic.
What are your interfaces?
So I was on Universal Audio, and I recently switched to the Antelope Orion, which has given us a lot of different functionality. I've been really enjoying that, and the digital patching as well. It's kind of opened up more channels for us and a good workflow. So
I see you've got the Audion down here. Are you feeding that into here and getting more pre's from that, for instance?
Yeah, that's just ADAT. What I used to do is run just an Apollo Twin and the Audion, and then I switched to the Antelope Orion. When I kind of really moved to console workflow, and just to give us the channel count really, and a bit of research. I started just seeing the product, which I didn't know much about at the time, but I started seeing it in more and more studios. I think the last one I saw was Sylvia Massey was using it, and I was like, well, okay, if it's good enough for her, then it must be a good piece of kit. So
great.
We invested in that, and it's been wonderful, and it's given us lots of options about being really hybrid. So we can be in both the digital and the analog domains, which is what we love and what we're continuing to invest in.
Talking of mic pre's, I can't help noticing you've got a Toft Audio Designs console here.
Absolutely.
How long have you had this?
So I've had this now for a couple of years.
Yep.
And really enjoy the pre's and the EQs and that kind of fader workflow. I used to use this as the main kind of pre.
Yep.
And a lot of the time now, I really use it for I/O within Logic. So I'll send my groups back out here for EQs and faders. So I'll throw my drums back up and then print them back in. Throw my vocals up, print them back in. But it used to be my main kind of centerpiece, which I did really enjoy. There's so many advantages to working like that. With your headphones always being on and ability to route. And then even when I shut down sessions, everyone's still live in the room. I'm kind of using it now as group and I/O, but the idea is actually to return to the console as a centerpiece. But I might look at some other pieces of kit to help us do that in the future.
I know what you mean. It's like I was spoiled for so many, I suppose, decades, you know, of having my mix come back up from fader and then just send a quick headphone mix. And after tracking vocals 100 times, of course, you barely have to touch anything. So it gets a little frustrating when I've got an interface. So I'm using a DAW and then the interface has its own mixer, and then I have to set up an independent mix on there that seems a little counterintuitive to me. So
it does.
I know what you mean.
The technology aspect is amazing. I think a hybrid really is an amazing kind of approach to this kind of stuff. I don't think it's really a one thing or the other.
Right.
But having to go through, as you say, the DAW into the interface mixer, this you don't even think about, and it's muscle memory, isn't it? And after a while, you don't really need to touch much. You know where everything is.
We were down here a second ago with the Orion. We also talked about your using the Audion pre's.
Yes.
What have we got hiding here? See, we have the Bus. Is that the Bus Plus?
This is the Bus Plus. Wonderful bit of gear. Use it in all kinds of applications, actually. I have one as a send, so I can post-process, and then I have one set up as a 2-bus along with the Fusion, which we'll get to in a minute. But I really love it because obviously the G-Comp on many of my favorite records. So actually having that kind of technology, but then all of its hidden extras and its ability to be mono, dual mono, stereo. I don't utilize the mid-side stuff so much, but
I understand that. I relate.
Yeah, there is a wonderful set of features on it, and like the hidden menus of the new SSL ranges are wonderful because there's just so many features behind features, and it just gives us that sound. So absolutely love it. Yeah.
So when we did the Fact Friday, I got 2 or 3 people asking, "Is that a soft tube sitting there?"
Yes.
I don't personally use this, and I have spoken to him quite a few times, so I should probably get into that world. Tell me about your experience with Softtube.
I'm not actually utilizing it as much. I first got it when I was thinking about tactility. So it was that thing about a hybrid again.
Yeah.
And really enjoying the musicality of actually being able to physically interact. So even though it's software based, it kind of gave me that approach. But to be honest, it turned into really, I used it for the gate a lot of the time, in a chain of a lot of other stuff when I started to collect a lot more hardware stuff. So it doesn't get as much use as it used to. And it doesn't quite look like the Softtube because I did the pseudo SSL thing and put stickers on it.
Right. But that's probably why people were asking. They were probably like, "Is that a Softtube?" Yeah. Like,
but no, it was good, and it does lead you to being a bit more hands-on, which I think really feels more interactive and a lot more musical. Even with faders and stuff, you can perform it.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a key thing in terms of playing, performance, and also post.
Are you using this with this functionality as well, or are you still reaching for the mouse?
No, the transport, the looping, and the fader, all happens on there. So I've kind of broke that aspect. There's a lot more functionality on that than I actually tap into. It really is the transport functions, the scrubbing, and my hand sits on the fader a lot of the time. For automation, it's amazing. Being able to draw that in rather than click. And also sometimes move it across and use it as a fader when doing strings. So I can kind of paint that in as I play. If I'm doing MIDI strings and stuff. I knew I liked it because I didn't realize I was using it.
You got the iPad here. What are you controlling with the iPad?
So with the iPad, I throw up Logic remote. And when I'm recording by myself, if I'm working on something, I'll take it around the studio and then I can record myself remotely. Or sometimes with certain performers, especially things like drummers, I'll give them the Logic remote. So even though they're in another room, they have some kind of sense of what I'm doing next door. They can see that. It's just like a second screen. And it allows a kind of gamification of the process. They can actually see what I'm doing, see what I'm looping, and when I'm on talkback, they've got a visual reference as well. So I'm just simply using it as a Logic remote for myself or when I'm collaborating. Works quite smoothly. Yeah.
Don't want to move past this. Got the Aguilar tone hammer. Are you going straight into that and running as a DI or amp or both?
Yeah, a bit of both. It's actually a Sensible Music, one of their assets that John Moon recently suggested that we implement because it was otherwise sitting there doing nothing. Just plugged it in for use with the pickup with the double bass, or just about to start doing straight bass on it, but untapped territory so far.
Oh, okay.
Looking forward to it.
I'm trying not to move past anything. I see you got the Austrian Audio, the OC18. Is this a main vocal mic or?
We're using the OC18 and the 818 and testing them out as main vocal mics, and just about to also then try them out as we have a pair of 818s. So going to try them out as overheads, going to try them out on piano and really put them to the test. We recently did a writing camp that we hosted here for a week. And I used it as the main workhorse, and it performed really well.
Can't help but notice this orange Terra ST amp or Terra stamp.
The odd use of this at the moment, which as we're just getting settled in the new studio, isn't quite plugged in, though I use this for my reverb tank. So what I've really found is pre-amplifying the signal and post-amplifying the signal off a reverb tank works best. I just really didn't get the gain. So I come out of Logic, into the spring, and then obviously I can send anything through it. And the other great thing is obviously you can play a spring if it's sound effect stuff.
Yeah.
I harvested this from our Hammond organ and just thought, well, it sounds great on the Hammond, but if I take it out, I can use it on everything. Okay. So I use the orange to pre-amplify the signal, and then I usually DI it straight into the Audient.
Great.
Just to give it another boost again. And I find it really cuts down on the noise. Now
for monitors, we were, because we were here the other day and I was sort of pointing to the Focals Trio 6s, I believe. How long have you had these?
I've had these since I moved to London, which was about 5 years ago.
So they're your main workhorse speakers?
Absolutely.
Great.
I fell in love with them in another studio that was based in Glasgow, which I took over for a month, which the engineer at the time was very pleased about because he actually got to go on holiday for the first time in many years. I took on that studio for a pop-up to kind of condense the work I was doing at the time, which was predominantly in home or using other spaces. And they had a set of these, and at the time it was just a case of one day I'll grab these because I really enjoyed tracking on them. I find them really to be my ears. And as much now, if I get sent demos, I wait until I'm back in my room to listen to them because it gives me a great impression of what things sound like.
Pure Drive here.
So the SSL Octo, I really enjoy this. Preamps, again in the new SSL tradition, the kind of long press and short press menus. Then we have different types of saturation.
Yep.
And then we can change the impedance as well for different
Nice.
microphones. And you can use it as a standalone interface, which is another amazing thing, which I don't use it as, but I've got another one which I'm just putting into a mobile rack, which we then intend to use around the Sensible site because there's so many different acoustic spaces here. We've got 4 DIs on the front as well, which take the first 4 channels. And then the saturation is really nice. I like to get the sound right in the room as much as possible to start with. And this is a great tool for doing that, which just gives us the clarity. This was the switch from the aforementioned Toft, really, because wonderful bit of gear, but then every third day it would give you a bunch of noise, and there's certain jobs where that's just not going to work.
Sure.
So we moved across to the SSL stuff, which I'd been wanting to do for a long time.
The second Bus Plus you were talking about earlier, which is your master bus compressor there you're using it for?
The Bus Plus and the Fusion are an always-on idea, really. Just really getting used to it and getting to learn the bit of equipment. Sat it front and centre and not looked back since, really.
Great. Can't help but notice you've got a 160A, which I absolutely love. One of the most underrated and still, up until this video, affordable compressors.
Absolutely. You'll probably change the price of things when you recommend them, but that's usually the way.
They did make a lot of them, and the X and the XT, all of them sound good.
Yes, so. Yeah, I would grab 2 or 3. Sound great for drums. Haven't tried them on vocals, but I know some of the DBXs are very famous for being used on vocals.
Yeah.
Actually quite surprising when you really process it and you look at the transients, it slightly baffles me how it's doing it.
Yeah.
Because the way you can affect a waveform is remarkable. And as you say, for the price point, pre-video at least, they're a remarkable thing, very recommended.
Yeah, amazing. Pair of Harrisons. We were just down at SSL and we saw the new console. And Harrison, of course, very famous for being Bruce Swidion's favorite console and Thriller and everything.
I had the absolute joy of being down at SSL, and they had the Harrison desk set up.
Yeah.
And it was an empty room, and it had Billie Jean out on the desk.
Oh, I didn't have that.
So I spent 45 minutes going through the stems for Billie Jean on the Harrison. Everyone else was in an SSL room, and the Harrison was just there. So I spent a good 45 minutes to an hour just really going through the Harrison and some amazing stems.
The EQs are legendary. That's what everybody always freaks out about. It's like, oh, Harrison EQs.
It's the EQs. Yeah. Warren, it's the EQs. Like, this is how I use them, and they are absolutely remarkable. Even just in terms of the high end, it feels like sometimes demo record, like just the smallest movements, there's a musicality to them, and it's oft overused, musical EQs, but I think it's familiarity, isn't it? Sure. They've been used in so many capacities that we associate with it being musical that I just put them in a certain place and they're remarkable. If anything, it's about not overusing them because they can give you a good dopamine hit.
Sure. You got the Avantone or the Auratone Avantone?
Yes, yeah.
Do you find yourself checking mixes on it much?
I do, especially for levels.
Okay.
Like, where is my vocal really at? Where is my bass really at? Especially like fundamental versus harmonics. It's really good for that. And a lot of the time during the day, if I'm just working, editing, emailing, and the other side of doing what we do, I often just listen to music on that. so that I'm not constantly listening on the main monitors.
I see.
I found that to be quite comfortable, actually.
Okay.
And then you can talk over it and communicate. So really good tool. Use it a lot. And sometimes put a mic up on speakers a lot of the time as well to kind of reamp stuff through different means. It's quite useful for that. You can get good tones out of it.
Interesting. Machine. I remember this was the thing, wasn't it? Is this one of the latest iterations?
No, this is, I think they're on the Mark III now. This is the Mark II. I used to use it a lot when I was a lot more laptop drum machine based. My background was in sampling vinyl and really beat making. From that aspect was a really important part of my workflow. So I'd go from vinyl to cassette and drum machine.
Right.
This kind of gave me a hybrid way of achieving that.
Vinyl, cassette to drum machine.
Printing to cassette tapes.
Yeah.
Utilizing MPCs and vinyl.
Nice.
To kind of process and stick down final mixes and things. And this kind of gave me a way of doing that. And I still keep it up because I do a lot of writing and collaboration stuff.
Right.
And a lot of our end results do end up with live instrumentation. But in the meantime, it's one of those things that's just so quick to use.
What is that?
The XR, we are just about to set it up as an in-ear monitor rig for live. It functions off the iPad and you get a full mixer on there. And it's a stage box really, but it's an all-in-one. So it's an interface iPad mixer, operates on its own network. So you can run a whole gig off it. With that and an iPad, really.
So can I grab that?
Please do, yeah, it's a lovely guitar.
It's actually a good weight, not too heavy, not too light. Oh, and in tune.
We knew you were coming, so. No, I do love it. It's an American Strat. It's definitely had a life.
Oh, plays so nicely.
It really does, doesn't it? The story goes, it was originally one of the guitarists from Baby Shambles.
Oh, really?
Who I then met at an event at Abbey Road, who confirmed that it was originally his.
Yeah, because it's kind of all the things you want. It's got the big fat wide frets. It's got a humbucker in the back, presumably with a coil tap. I mean, I like the fatter frets. I mean, it's great for the...
Yeah.
Listen to the sustain coming around. Who plays a double bass?
I'm just starting. This is another find at Sensible Music, which has been in the attic for a long time.
Oh, wow.
A wonderful thing.
And it's in tune as well.
Yes, of course.
Ukuleles, you've got the little baby one up here, but you've also got the bass.
Yes, that is a very fun instrument, Warren. It sounds extremely bassy as well because it has a pickup. Yeah, really, really fun.
So cool, so easy to play, so light.
Yeah, and the rubber strings, it's very unique.
And it's got a DI?
Yes.
And of course the Hofner, which I've been coveting after, which is gorgeous with flats. Oh.
Yes, we'll have to record on it soon.
Yes.
It's a lovely thing.
Tell me about this, because we were talking about being at Music China and seeing a lot of instruments. I had no idea what they were. What exactly is this? Okay,
so forgive me for the possible mispronunciation, but it's a guzheng or a guzhong. It's a Chinese harp, which was the predecessor to, I think, what is more commonly known Japanese instrument called the koto, which has a slightly different tuning system. And it's in a pentatonic scale. This probably won't all be in tune because of it fluctuates with temperature quite a lot. But it gives you a very nice sound.
Gorgeous.
I found this used from a Chinese artist based in South London, who was committing his time in music to playing the Erhu, the Chinese violin, and he wanted to get rid of it. It took me a long time to find one. I'd wanted one for quite a while, and it sounds like a yoga advert or a horror film on the untuned side. I think as well this is a short scale. They're usually a lot bigger and I think have a double spine. So you actually have two tune sides. It's a wonderful thing to play. With it all being in scale, it's obviously a very therapeutic thing to play even if you don't Happened to be a milestone.
It's got such a unique sound.
And it has portholes on the back as well. So there's various ways to mic it, which get radically different results. It's very nice to just play, and it fits in certain songs. Or if we want the sound, I'll sample it and transfer it to a keyboard, so we can play with that. So
incredible,
very enjoyable.
Talking to keyboards.
So yeah, the Master is the real workhorse with the Complete. I really like the action on it's very good. Pianists don't mind it as well, comparatively to some of the other things available, and a daily use as well.
Lovely. What's all this hiding under here?
So another Teenage Engineering.
Oh yes, the Teenage Engineering.
Yes, they're one of their latest products, which is a look at the reggae and dub world with the rhythm and ting, which is an amazingly price pointed drum machine and layering machine with a built-in microphone.
How much is amazingly price pointed?
I think UK $299.
They have so many products. They do so much stuff.
Recently, we were lucky to receive a gift for moving into our new studio, which, if we flick around here, was an equally wonderful and possibly pointless Teenage Engineering car, showing off their engineering and design. And I think they just really innovate in remarkable ways. And in a sense, this is a very rebellious product to make, wonderfully made. So they do have a track record for that, like the Teenage Engineering Choir, which I think you might have seen as well.
Oh, yes.
Hand percussion ends up on almost everything.
Yeah.
So I'm always collecting and or creating and making. It's something that just immediately adds a lot of life to a lot of different productions that we do. Different grades of shakers, of course.
Oh, I like that. I've never gone with eggs. I just find them in a mix to be just too high up. I like the thicker kind of shakers.
Yeah, so the kind of...
Yeah, that's fantastic.
This is what I learned from looking at the Brazilian tradition of things.
Yeah.
I was told the very well-known LP shakers, which were the Brazilian, but half of it is a Yakult bottle, because this was what they would do. They would take recycled materials to make their shaker sounds. Yeah. So obviously this is made out of plastic, which is testament to the tradition of that. But it has a certain sound that does feel a little plastic. And then if you do it with rice or couscous or some more readily available materials, you actually get a more traditional sound. So it's really great to explore. We don't want to go past the Nord Lead 3. I'm sure we'll get a lot of, hey, you didn't talk about it, so let's talk about it. I mean, Nord just seem to have just dominated for decades now. Everywhere I go, somebody has Nord. Absolutely. It's kind of a flagship, and I suppose with our centre being in jazz, soul, fusion, it's very much the workhorse as well, live and in the studio. We're looking at this. This is a great one. This is like an earlier Squire. It's an early Squire, yeah. It served me well. I bought it just before moving down to London. Done a lot of live gigs with it and a number of records. So it says Duncan designed. So there's Seymour Duncan, but yeah. But they're designed but manufactured by somebody else, or I'm not sure actually the proper story there. Or maybe it's designed for Fender, but designed by Seymour Duncan. And then there's the fretless up there, which is fun. There's the odd fretless one, I found this in a store in North London, and it is obviously a hybrid, but just fell in love with that sound on my way towards cello and double bass. A fretless made sense. So before we move on to your live room, we've got a couple of things here we missed out. Evtech Hum Eliminator. A Hum Eliminator, a Zoom effects rack. Yeah. A currently unworking, but a donated DI box, which was from a company called LA, which I couldn't find much about online, but I think they're a small outfit based in Basingstoke. They were making high-end DIs. Do they still exist? I don't think so, no. So when I first came in, I noticed this. Tell us about this. So this is a signed J Dilla album of The Shining by his brother, James Illa J. The label I signed to when I did my debut album is known as BBE. And they were really the home of the debuts of artists like Pete Rock, DJ Premier and J Dilla. So very fortunately the guys gave me a coffee, and I took that to meet Illa J when he was doing a gig in Camden in London, and he very graciously signed it for me and got to meet them. But it's an artist who really changed my approach to making music, and such a big influence for me. So an incredible moment, and pride of place in the studio.
Mandolin hiding in the corner.
Yes.
Shouldn't forget that.
Wonderful thing, and good to add layers.
Yes. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. Especially on acoustics and stuff, just to make them give a different shimmer. All right. The live room.
So round the corner, we have what I'm referring to as our live booth. It's bigger than a vocal booth, smaller than a live room.
Yeah, you could do a drum kit in here. It has been done many, many times.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
A really tight sound.
So this is a crazy looking Strat, an Encore with flats on it as well, but it's fretless.
And it's fretless.
Oh, wow. Don't really ever play fretless guitars.
It's a very, very odd action. It has no sustain. But it gives you like a very interesting tone. That's more maybe celloistic or...
I'd have to mess around with that and think of parts that would sound great like that, yeah.
It's one of those things, again, that if you start something on it, great. If you try and add it to a track afterwards, it's a bit of a...
So you write a cool riff on it and then use it and probably sample it for you, yeah.
Exactly, with a few effects.
Little Baby Taylor.
Baby Taylor, yeah. My co-writer, Toby, went to go for a trip in LA, and he stayed with an engineer out there. And he had one in the house, and he kind of fell in love with it and wrote an album on it. So when he came back, we made sure to grab him one. This is our U87, as it were, but this is a B87 by an Australian company, which is a family outfit, I believe, called Bee's Knees.
Right.
So this is their B87. Slightly darker tone than, say, the U87 AI, which obviously has that very modern punch, but I think they modeled this one off of a vintage. So it just has a tone that sits well with a lot of the jazz and soul and R&B vocals that we do.
Beautiful. And what's the Strat over here? This looks interesting.
Again, this was Toby's very first guitar.
Oh, nice.
So when he was in university.
Is it Yamaha Pacifica?
I think it might be. It's seen a life though, Warren. But he had this when he was in university in Nottingham.
It's great.
It's very young, actually.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, whatever it is, we love it. Last but no means least is another little tiny Terror. This is the Micro Terror.
Yes, again, just looking at all of the assets and facets of setting up a studio in the way that we want to.
Yeah.
Requires lots of different moving parts, and it's a very quick and cost-effective way of achieving that.
Violin. Have you been trying that too?
Yes, so I'm no strings player, as you can tell by the missing string that's currently on there, which I need to replace. But I utilize strings and brass, of which I don't play either. But when I do, I kind of do them like vocal stacks. So I do what I call like rhythm brass or rhythm strings,
Right.
which is basically literally just putting down harmonic stacks. I like to write on the intended instrument, even if I'm not virtuistic in it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when it comes to transferring it to getting in the players or a sessioner, we then have a basis of it's being composed on the instrument of choice. Yeah. And sometimes, more often as time goes on, there'll be a layered thing. So I'll get in a player but actually leave what I've put down as well. So
Nice.
we build up skills as you go, for sure.
Can't help but see a Coles here.
Yes.
Lovely.
Not a pair, but a 4038, used on many a source. Does the thing that we all know it does.
Yeah.
And a must-have, I think.
So tell me about this. Is this actually a Hammond? Hammond, or who made this?
It's a Hammond, yes. Started life in Japan, moved across to America, as is revealed by a sticker on the inside. We found it being thrown out in a warehouse in Tottenham, retrieved it basically. Brought it back, gave it a good clean. It worked again, basically. It's where I harvested the spring reverb from as well. But it has some cool tones and the amazing bass tones of the foot pedals as well. And that is super fun.
Nice.
And built-in amp, and then also has a Leslie on the side.
Have you found a way to plug into Leslie independently?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So then we can use it for BVs or guitars and things like that.
Marvelous.
Yeah, wonderful thing. No, I think study is great, and especially coming from a non-conservatoire, non-academy kind of background. The study aspect and the self-study and learning through interaction and spreading information by just communicating is incredible. But when it comes to the moment of creation, it's really just forget it all and approach everything with as much naivety as possible. I think that's really great as well, because we can all do it. If we have a main instrument, then start writing on something you've never played on before. It leads to wonderful results, and we use our ear to navigate around, and you definitely end up in places that you otherwise wouldn't. And then sometimes when required, if you're arranging and you really do need a certain color, then we can kind of tap into the theory aspect of it when it makes sense to. But for the most part, encouraging play. For about 3 years in London, I've run a improv night for jazz and R&B, vocalist and instrumentalist.
You still do it?
We stopped actually prior to moving into here. A lot of the stuff that we do with events has changed because now we do consultation for bigger festivals. But as a very grassroots thing in our old studio, we did improv nights, which then transferred to Brick Lane in London, in 91 Living Room, which is very much a home of jazz. And then from there, we did the Brick Lane Jazz Festival. But that was brilliant. And then we actually got to know so much of the community and encouraged them to play. I think a lot of people played in our nights for the very first time. So we love to have a mix of experience and kind of newbie energy, if you will, and support both to come through, because I feel that's where you get just incredible results.
Agreed, 100%. That sounds amazing.
Flow state, essentially. Yeah. Just the idea of our best work is done in that capacity of being in a flow state and having access to tools, but not letting them kind of get in the way of the process. So it was more a turn of phrase that we'd use in sessions all the time, and we were thinking what we would label ourselves. And that really made sense to us. It's kind of the philosophy of how we like to approach things. Plus there's a little hidden status quo joke of not being kind of caught in the status quo and kind of challenging that. Hence as well our new registered trademark, Industry Unstandard. We actually took the time to register that. And Industry Unstandard, as in we celebrate an unstandard industry. Mm-hmm. I think when people say, especially in the music business side of things, this is the standard way of doing things. And it kind of irks us a little bit. We like things to...
I agree entirely.
Yeah. Be creative, and it's proven in every cycle, if you will, of music and creativity that these standards are reinvented. It's a standard until someone comes along and does it in a different way. So Industry Unstandard, basically, as this is the industry we're in, and also the industry that we'd like to see. It's diverse, basically. So
wonderful.
Flow state and Industry Unstandard.
How did you get your start in music? You were telling me off camera that you did music as a hobby, but you actually had another job, and then you were like, which you kind of peaked at and did extremely well at, and was like, no.
Absolutely. So my past life was as a creative strategist, creative direction, which I started as a designer. Previous to that, my kind of access to being involved in music was listening, human beatboxing, and DJing, which is then where I fell in love with vinyl sampling and beat making through a very kind of hip-hop led tradition.
Who are the artists that inspired you back in that day? What got you into that?
Artists such as like Pete Rock, DJ Premier, J Dilla, they were all very inspiring artists for me. And in moving to London about 5 years ago, I had a full circle moment of my debut album being signed to the same label as J Dilla, Pete Rock, and DJ Premier. So that was a wonderful thing, and I had the same executive producer as those original works as well. Really starting in that tradition, And through beatboxing and unbeknownst to me being able to beatbox and vocal percuss in time signatures. I didn't really realize that. I was just doing a lot of stuff on feel. I got asked to join a jazz band. And in that 15-piece, sometimes jazz band, really that was my college. So I learned a lot about music. And through that, I realized that no one was recording all of this music. So I learned to engineer in rehearsal rooms around a jazz band.
What was the name of the jazz band?
They were called the D-Bass Collective. I do have a vinyl around here somewhere. Some conservatoire players and some street jazz players. It was a bit of a fusion of both.
Nice.
And a wonderful group, amazing guys who taught me so much about music. And I used to beatbox and host and rap. I used to do freestyle rap. And really surrounded the whole time by just incredible players, which reflected the thing that I really loved in hip hop that I was listening to. The things they were sampling were jazz and soul. So my love of that came through hip hop. That was my education, followed by a jazz band, and then I started pointing mics at things. Yeah, and never really looked back since. So I was for a long time as a career focusing on graphic design and creative direction. And in my last role, doing brand guardianship and creative direction for the likes of Coots Bank of America, Financial Times, and just got to a point in a promotional meeting of
Dragging them into the 21st century.
Yes, well, it was a fascinating role, and the guys in the team were brilliant, and it just came to a point where I realised that if I followed that path, I was never going to really realise the music aspect of everything. So I quit, moved down to London and set up a small studio.
Where were you living in Scotland?
So at the time I was in the Highlands, in the Cairngorms, up in Aberdeenshire.
So were you doing a lot of the stuff remotely?
Travelling into Aberdeen to do the creative, and then remotely working on a lot of music. And I've always had a massive love of what I would refer to as a transatlantic sound. Love the history and tradition of British music, but also equally of American music that I kind of grew up on, especially through a lot of the vinyl I was collecting. I used to have an obscene collection of vinyl. That really led me down the path of my first project, was with a vocalist known as Jay Tronius, and he's based in Texas. We met remotely. I did the music, he did the lyrics and the vocals, and we picked up a deal. We demoed 3 tracks and got a deal to make an album. So that was my start in London, really. Great fun.
What a great start.
Yeah.
Now, your partner, Toby,
Yes.
you met, you told me earlier off camera, came in, said, hey, for the next 3 months, can we meet every Tuesday to create an EP together? And then you just turned it into a production partnership. We
did indeed, yeah. So Toby's principally an artist, Toby Cotton. He's described by the press as indie soul, and he represents amazing approach to music, but I think he was really looking for a producer. We had one session and he booked in for the next 3 months. We completed his debut EP, which we took up to a beautiful studio just outside Milton Keynes, actually, called The Friary. A wonderful engineer called Chris, and a gorgeous SSL centerpiece there. Put down his EP, was amazing, and I think a few months after that we started a business, and that led us to our last studio space, which was initially opened with a series of visual artists and us doing music, which we slowly kind of took over as people moved on to other studios or other countries to pursue their visual painting or sculpture. So it was a very unique environment to be creating in. Very fortunate experience. And very recently, over the last month and a half or so, we moved into Sensible Music here in King's Cross. So we'll be working on our own material. Toby's got 2 albums that he's written, which are really quite different. So we're looking forward to put those down next in the amazing facilities here. And then we do a lot of collaborative stuff. And we write so intuitively together. We now do that with a lot of other artists as a duo. So you're co-writing and producing other artists? Yeah. Super fun. Maverick, thank you ever so much. Absolute pleasure, Warren. Really appreciate it. There will be a link down below for State is Flow. And please reach out with any questions, leave them down below, and I'll try and have Maverick answer them. Perfect. Thanks again. Thanks, everyone. So long, farewell. Auf Wiedersehen, au revoir, adios, chest.